Good morning, students. Welcome back to my today's lecture that will be on the module 6 of your subject code C701. The module is water distribution. Now, the last class so far I remember we have described the in 21st lecture, in previous lecture we have described about the process of the analysis part, that is the pipe network distribution analysis. Now today I will describe the reservoir, that is the storage and distribution reservoir I will describe, and I will show you how to determine the capacity of the reservoirs. Very important as far as your syllabus is concerned. Now what is the storage reservoirs? We can easily give you the example of dam. Dams are constructed across the river, as we know, or the stream to create an artificial lake or reservoir behind it. So this is one of the example of the storage reservoir, we can say. Now the reservoirs are classified according to the use of the system. The reservoirs may be classified as number one, the storage or conservation reservoir. Number two, the reservoir is the flood control reservoir. There may be the flood protect reservoir or flood control reservoir. Number three is the distribution reservoir for distribution of the water to the end users. And number four is multi-purpose reservoir. So mainly these type of four reservoirs are there. Once again I am telling you, one is the storage or conservation reservoir. Number two is the flood protection reservoir. Number three is the distribution reservoir. And number four is the multi-purpose reservoir. Now, what is the storage reservoir? Let me give you an idea. Storage reservoir are primarily used for water supplies, for irrigation purpose, hydroelectric developments, domestic and industrial supply. So these are the reservoirs constructed to store the excess water during the period of large supplies and release it gradually as and when needed. So this is the storage reservoir. Now what is the flood protection reservoir? Now flood protection reservoirs store water during flood and release it gradually at a safer rate when the flood reduces. What is the distribution reservoir? Now it is a small storage reservoir used for water supply in a city or a town. And the multi-purpose reservoirs are used for the multi-purpose activities. So main thing is I must highlight to you students, that is the when we see there is a long pipeline distribution system. So to make a uniform flow into the piping system and to make the pumping cost economically, the reservoir is must. And it gives a quality of water also. How? Because reservoir acts as a sedimentation tank. In the treatment process, we have already studied that the sedimentation tank where the sediments, that means the particles are settled. So the reservoir may act as a sedimentation tank where the sediments are precipitated and the clear water we can get. So to some extent, it will increase the quality of the water in supplying portion. That must has to be that also has to be identified. And as I've told you that it is maintaining the uniform distribution system in the long pipeline and in large. Suppose if you are talking for the groundwater supply, then we can talk for the small reservoir, which increases the capacity of the source, making it demand more uniform. But if we talk about the large distribution system, then the several reservoirs placed at different points or locations which may affect considerable economy in the size of the piping system and other units like pumping cost, etc., etc. And as a measure of safety against the interruption of the supply, the interruption of the supply water distribution to the end user may be taken place due to the accidents of the conduit or machinery, due to load shedding, power cut, then the emergency circuit due to fire supply, firefighting supply, the emergency condition. Then it is a cushion in our hand. It protects us. So the reservoir's importance in water distribution, I must say to you, not only the quality, but also to maintain the uniform flow, to make the economy, to emergency purpose, like in accidental case, load shedding, breakdown, and these reservoirs will have a contribution in the distribution of the water to the system. That much I can say you. Now, the small reservoirs also may be provided for convenience of operation, and the receiving reservoir at the terminal of conduits. A receiving reservoirs at the terminal of conduits, small reservoirs, or for regulating pressure at intermediate points, and similar reservoirs in a chambers at pumping stations may be provided for. So we can see at a glance the reservoir main functions. What are the main functions of the distribution reservoir? The main functions of the distribution reservoirs, they absorb the hourly variations in demand. As I have told you, it enables to make a uniform flow regarding the demand and supply period. That means they absorb the hourly variations in demand and allow the water treatment units and pumps to operate at a constant rate. This is also decreases the maintenance cost and running cost also, reduces the maintenance and running cost also, and operational cost also, and improving the efficiency. Number two functions, they help in maintaining constant pressure in the distribution means the pressure falls down as the demand of water increases. Number three functions, the pumping of water in shifts is made possible. Suppose morning, if I can say, I can supply the water 8 to 12 hours, because throughout the 24 hours it may not provide the supply. So 8 to 12 hours intermittent supply, shift period, in shifting basis, that is possible without affecting the supply. So the pumping of water can be done in shifting period, because 24 hours operation of the pump is very not convenient and not for economical also. So for shifting time, we can consider 8 to 12 hours, or in the evening from 6 to 10 hours. So that pumping can be carried out as to supply the whole day of demand, because we have stored the water in the reservoir. So intermittent pumping system can be carried out to supply the whole day demand. Number four function I must highlight you, that is the water stored in these reservoirs can be supplied during the emergencies such as breakdown of pumps, heavy fire demand, etc. That means it maintains always the safety in the system, standby safety system. And number five, they provide an overall economy by reducing the size of pumps, pipelines, and treatment unit. And this is the most important aspect of service or distribution reservoirs. Fine. Now, there are two types of reservoirs are there. One is the surface, that is the on-ground reservoirs. Another is the elevated reservoirs. So surface reservoirs, where it is constructed? It is constructed at the ground level or below the ground surface. And these are called the ground reservoirs. And what are the elevated reservoirs? Elevated reservoirs are mostly rectangular or circular overhead tanks erected at a suitable elevation after the ground level and supported by towers. So what is the where it is required? Now where the pressure requirements require considerable elevation above the ground surface to serve multi-storied buildings. For distributing the water to the multi-storied buildings end user, there we require the considerable pressure, and for that the elevated tank is required. So they are provided in the area where the combined gravity and pumping system of water distribution system is adopted. And in the ground surface reservoirs, the gravitational type of distribution system, water is stored in the ground distribution reservoir and then directly sent from there to distribution mains, which are situated at lower elevations. That is the difference between the surface reservoir and the elevated reservoirs. Now, before going to the numerical part, because mostly I will show you how to determine the capacity of the storage tank, that is the main focus of the engineering system. I must say you the something, the most important thing I must say you, that is about the mass curve method. What is the mass curve method? You must understand before going into the problem. A mass diagram is the plot of accumulated supply or demand versus time. Maybe the demand or maybe the supply, but the accumulated supply or demand versus time graph is called the mass diagram. The supply is also known as inflow and the demand is outflow. The first mass curve of supply, known as the supply line, is drawn. More or less it is a straight line, and over this demand curve is superimposed. This is fluctuating because demand is fluctuating, so it is in curved nature. So that curved nature is superimposed on the straight line portion. That means what I am trying to say, the demand curve is superimposed on the supply curve. The amount of balancing storage is determined by adding the maximum ordinates between the demand and supply lines. The maximum ordinates between the demand and supply lines. So first, hourly demand for all 24 hours from the day of maximum requirements is determined. Then cumulative demand plotted against time, which is known as the mass curve of demand. Next, cumulative supply against it plotted, which is a straight line, as I have told you, because supply is constant and demand generally it is in curve, it is fluctuating. And the storage required is calculated as the sum of the two maximum ordinates between the demand and supplies. That is the basic theory part I must tell you before solving the problems. Now let me solve one problem. Before that, as I mentioned you the mass curve, I must tell you what do you mean by the maximum ordinate. I must show you. So that curve I am just showing you. This is the curve. You see, this is the one of a typical problem of mass curve. Cumulative flow is plotted in y-axis and the time is plotted in hours in x-axis. You see, the two, one is the straight line dotted, this is the supply line, and another thing is the curved line, that is the demand line. And two ordinate, maximum ordinate at the bottom position and maximum ordinate at the top portion has been highlighted. The bottom portion where demand is more than supply, that maximum ordinate has been found out. In the top portion where the supply is more than the demand, that maximum ordinate has been found out. Summation of this ordinate will give the total storage. That is the concept of the mass curve. Fine. Now, let me explain a first simple problem. That means how to determine the storage of the tank. First example, I am going to a city. It is given a city as a population of 1.5 lakhs. Okay. Now, it has to be supplied water at a rate of 200 liters per capita per day. So, the requirement of water is given in the question and the number of population is given in the question. The hourly variation in demand is given in the table because you have to match the supply with that hourly demand, and accordingly you have to prepare a storage tank, you have to design a storage tank, and the capacity of that tank is to be determined. Now find out the capacity of the distribution reservoir to be provided for balancing the variable demand against a constant rate of pumping. When the pumping is done for all 24 hours, that is one case. And when the pumping is done from 6 to 11 and 2 to 9, that means 6 to 11 means 5 hours and 2 to 9 means 7 hours. So total 12 hours are operating, and this is the second case. And the first case, we have to solve the problem, that is we have to determine the capacity of the tank considering the pumping operation 24 hours. Now, period of hours is given that percentage of average hourly flow is 0 to 4, 6, 16, 4 to 8, 70%, percentage of average flow hours, then 8 to 12, 12 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 24. So percentage of average hourly flow, it has been told. First of all, you have to find out the supply. That is that straight line portion which you have described in mass curve. The straight line portion, that is the supply. First, you have to determine what is that. The 200 capital is given, and if you multiply 200 capital by 1.5, I mean to say 200 liters per person per day it is given, and capita is 1.5 lakhs. So if you multiply capita, that is 1.5 lakhs, by the requirement of water, that is 200 liters per capita per day. So if you multiply 200 with 1.5 lakhs, you will get 30 million liters. So this 30 million liters is the total quantity of water required, which is the water which is needed by the population in the city. That means these 30 into 10 to the 6 million liters, 30 into 10 to the 6 liters, vis-a-vis I can say 30 million liter water, you have to supply in 24 hours. Because first case, it is said that you have to supply the water in 24 hours. So what is the average hourly demand? The average hourly demand is 30 divided by 24. That is 1.25 million liters. So now you have to prepare the table. What is the table? Now demand in units of average, it is given in the question that 0.16, 0.16, then 70% means 0.7, then 190 means 1.9. So these type of things, it is already tabulated, that is the demand of units in average demand. Okay, 0 to 4, 16%. That means the demand in units of first 0 to 4 hours. That means 1, 2, 3, 4. If you see the first 4 hours, it is 0.16. Why 0.16? It is 16% given. Then 4 to 8 hours, it is given 70%. So you have to consider the flow 70%, 0.7. And then 9 to 12, it is 190% means 1.9. So these are all tabulated as a demand units, units of average hourly demand. Okay. Now what is the cumulative demand? Cumulative demand is 0.16 plus 0.16, 0.32, that is the cumulative demand. Now the cumulative demand in million liter, what will be? Now average hourly demand is 1.25 million liters. Again I am saying average hourly demand is 1.25 million liters. Up to that, the 0.16%, the 16%, that is 0.16% of that 1.25 million liter have to be taken for the cumulative demand. So you have to multiply the percentage which you have found out in the third column with the fourth column, that is the 1.25 million liter. That means this is the cumulative demand you will get. Fine. Now what is the constant pumping rate? Constant pumping rate 24 hours is 1.25 throughout the 24 hours. Fine. Now what is the cumulative pumping? That also you have calculated in the column number 6, cumulative pumping rate. Now the column number 7 and 8 are for finding out the excess of demand, and last one is the excess of supply. What is the excess of demand? Because if the supply is less than demand, if demand is rather, I would say, more than the supply, then there is excess of demand. And where the supply is more than the demand, then there is excess of supply. So in the first case, if you see, yeah, the cumulative pumping rate, that means the supply is 1.25, but cumulative demand is 0.2, as we have seen in column number 4. What does it indicate? Supply is more than the demand, so there is a excess supply. That means in column number 8, it will be 1.25 minus 0.2, so 1.05. Next, second hour, the cumulative supply is 2.5. Cumulative pumping in milliliter means cumulative supply. That is 2.5, and the demand is cumulative demand is 0.4. So definitely 2.5 minus 0.4, that is the excess supply is 2.1. Likewise, we can this will continue to go up to I can say 18th hour. 18th hour, this process will be continued, and it will be seen that the cumulative supply is 22.5 and the cumulative demand is 22.35. So last in 18th hour, we have seen still there is a excess supply, because 22.5 is the cumulative supply and 22.35 is the cumulative demand. So if you subtract the demand from the supply, we will get the excess supply, that is 0.15. But in 19th hour, the scenario is changed, as you are seeing from the table. How? Here, the cumulative demand, you are seeing that 24.425 in the column 4th. And in the column 6, the cumulative supply is 23.75. So here it is seen that cumulative demand is more than the cumulative supply. So definitely it will be under the column of excess of demand, that is under column of 7. And what will be the value? 24.425 minus 23.75. So that will be 24.425 minus 23.75. So that will be 0.675. Okay. So this is the thing. Then 20th hour also there is a maximum demand, because cumulative demand is 26.5 and cumulative supply is 25. So excess demand is 1.5. Then 21st hour excess demand is 1.125. Then 22nd hour, it is also calculated excess demand is 0.75. And the last one, 23, excess demand is 0.35. But in 24th hour, it has been found that the demand and supply is equal. So no excess demand, no excess supply. So from this tabulated figure, we can observe that the maximum excess demand, so you add the figure put in the column number 7, that is the excess demand, which is nothing but the maximum value of the excess demand corresponding to 20th hour, we can see 1.5. So that is the 1.5 million liter is the maximum excess demand. Then if you look at the maximum excess supply in the column number say 8, what we will see, the maximum excess supply is 5.7, where it is corresponding to the 8 hour period of 8 hour. It is shown as the maximum supply is excess supply is 5.7. We have to, because the concept is the mass curve, the maximum ordinate in respect of the excess supply, in respect of the excess demand, as I have explained you in the graphical representation. And here in numerical part, I am also telling the maximum ordinate means we will choose the maximum value of the excess supply, that is one ordinate, maximum ordinate, and excess demand, that is another ordinate. So one maximum demand and another maximum supply part, we have to select from the tabular value, which is 1.5 and 5.7, and summation of the maximum excess of demand and summation of the maximum excess of summation of the maximum excess of supply will give the total storage of the tank required. That means if we add 1.5 plus 5.7, the total storage of the tank will be coming as the 7.2 million liters. And this is number one case when we are talking about for the pumping rate. Pumping will be running throughout 24 hours. Now case 2. the selected time operation for the pumping, that means from 6 to 11 and from 2 to 9. That means in the case 2, when we are talking about, instead of 24 hours pumping, the pump operated was 12 hours. So the rate will be just double, because pumping operation is half. Instead of 24, it has half to 12 hours. So the rate will be double, because the supply, total amount you have to supply, that is 30 million liter. So now instead of 1.25, the rate of the supply has become 2.5. So since 2.5, so corresponding to 2.5, you have to find out the supply part of the system. Okay, so 2.5, you see where the supply rate has not been put in the column number 5 everywhere. What the pumping will be operated there only, because supply will come when the pump will be operated. When the pipe will not be operated, supply will not come. So the supply figure we have put in the pumping operation period, that is 7 to 12. Then again you observe the 15 to 21st. So the same process will be followed to find out the cumulative pumping as well as the cumulative demand. Then you find out the throughout the 24 hours period the excess demand and the excess supply. The same process in the case 1, how which you have followed, the same process has to be found out the here also. The excess demand means suppose for first hour, I mean to say the first hour the excess no pumping rate is there, because no supply is there, but demand is 0.2, so there is a excess demand. Then pumping, then in hour 2 there is a excess demand, because supply is top. So first 5 hours, rather I would say first 6 hours, since there is no operation of the pump, we can go without saying that all will be the pumping demand, excess demand. Fine. Now when the pump started the operation, there from 8th hour excess supply value has been put. So again, from the tabulation, that excess supply and excess demand to maximum ordinate, that is what is the excess of the demand that you have to find out. Excess of the demand has been found out as excess of the demand, that is 5.04 million liter. That is the excess demand. So 5.04 million liters is the excess demand. Okay. Now, what will be the I mean to say excess demand is 3.5 million liter. You see the 3.5 million liter in the second case, 3.5 million liter corresponding to the, I'm just showing you 3.5 where it is. 3.5 means corresponding to which hour that I am trying to locate you. Yes, I have found out 14 hours. Corresponding to 14 hours, you see the maximum, that is the excess demand, is 3.5 hours. And corresponding to the 21st hour, the maximum supply is 2.625 hours. So the two maximum ordinate, that is the maximum excess demand and maximum excess supply, which you must note from the tabulated value, and you just add on these two values. That is the maximum supply is the 2.625 and maximum demand is 3.5. So if you add 3.5 plus 2.625, so the storage required is 6.125. So when if the 24 hours continuous the pump will be operated, then the maximum, then the storage capacity is 7.2 million liters. But if the intermittent pump is operated 12 hours, not straightway 24 hours, then instead of 7.2 liters, 7.2 million liters, the storage capacity is coming is 6.125 million liter. That means the 6 month storage capacity will be less, because tank pump is not operated throughout the time. So the supply is coming less, so you have to store the tank less, because maximum supply per maximum demand will give you the storage capacity. So the second case, will get the less storage capacity of the tank. So actually the basic principle of the thing is that you have to find out the definitely we have found out the necessity of the storage tank, as we have seen in piping distribution network, because in earlier lecture which you have seen the distribution of the water, find out the analysis portion, that is the flow of various network system, that is a fundamental thing which contains which flows, that is very important part to design the piping system. But here we have to find out correctly the capacity of the tank, because the design of the tank, whether it is a rectangular or circular, is based on the storage capacity of the tank, so that there is no hindrance in supplying the water to satisfy the demand of the community. That is the basic purpose, and there we have described the supply demand curve, the ordinate portion, and in tabular portion in numerical sums we have also shown you how to calculate in cumulative analysis portion of demand and cumulative analysis portion of supply, and pick up the excess demand and supply to find out the storage capacity of the tank. But this is not the single problem we'll discuss. We'll close the day, we'll close the lecture today, but definitely there will be another problems with the storage reservoir capacity will be discussed in the next lecture. That is the 20 this is 22nd lecture I am just delivering. So 23rd lecture, in the next lecture, that will be described, that will be discussed in details, the numerical sums of determining the storage capacity of the tank. So students, I will post my lecture today what I have deliberated you in Google Classroom. So kindly go through that lecture notes. We'll have we'll be meeting in the one-to-one interaction in Zoom Live Classroom. That is the online classroom where each and every queries, if you have any, that will be clarified to in one-to-one interaction in live classes. And after that, the numerical sums or numerical assignments will be posted in the Google Classroom for periodic submission from your end. So thank you very much. Have a nice day to all.